Russian president has warned Israel against a possible supply of lethal weapons to the Ukrainian government. Vladimir Putin says the move could be counterproductive and would only result in more confrontation and bloodshed in eastern Ukraine. He made those remarks after media outlets reported that Israel may send arms to Ukraine, which has been gripped by a deadly conflict between government forces and pro-Russian militias. Reports quoting Israeli military sources say that the possible Israeli move is in response to Russia's decision to lift its embargo on the delivery of the S-300 missile system to Iran. Moscow has been at loggerheads with the West over the crisis in eastern Ukraine. The two sides have been blaming each other for fueling the conflict. To discuss that further, I'm joined by Daniel Esterlin, who is an author and investigative journalist who is joining us live now via Skype from Barcelona. Sir, thanks very much for joining us here on Press TV. Now, certainly, the Russian warning seems quite legitimate in the sense that Israel getting involved with Ukraine would seem like quite an escalation.
Absolutely. I think, again, it goes back to this is just the background to the story. The real story is Iranian air defense's S-300 deal, which is, needless to say, is of great concern to the United States and Israel. There's another element to this which needs to be discussed, and that's the element of BRICS and also the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Now, while BRICS has come in to be the watchword of multipolarity, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has emerged as the military security intelligence alliance on top of being an economic and also political forum for the Sino-Russian relations. So the possibility of Iran joining this alliance, both through participation in SCO summits and in practice through military and non-military contracts, as well as other forms of cooperation, signals a watershed both for Iran and the non-Western world, where just a few years ago, the United States and its allies could dictate the terms of relations between Iran and other states. Today, it simply cannot do that, nuclear deal or no nuclear deal. And the S-300s are only, again, the tip of the iceberg. Again, the whole situation with Ukraine, Israel, and Russia is just the background to the real deal. The real deal, of course, is Iran being a very important element of this entire equation.
And we have about a minute left, sir. I'm wondering then, this pressure, of course, will come down on Russia because this will be happening, obviously, on its borders, essentially, in Ukraine, this Israeli involvement in Ukraine. What kind of pressure will it put on Russia, and how will it respond, do you think?
I think Russia is going to be doing exactly what it's been doing up to this point. Russia is not involved in the conflict in the Ukraine. Obviously, it's in Russia's interest to make sure that this conflict is resolved peacefully. If Russia wanted to invade Ukraine, it would have done it the same way that they peacefully took over Crimea. They would have done the same with Ukraine. If Russia did want Ukraine, they wouldn't have wanted Ukraine as a country, not as something which basically has been turned into a ruinous state. Again, there's still more for going back to the Iranians, for the United States and Israel to be concerned about, namely what Iran might be able to do with increased military and technological cooperation with Russia. Israel, needless to say, is very concerned with that. This cooperation could provide Iran with the opportunity to up their material and technical support for Syria and Hezbollah, and then a continued fight against ISIS and Al-Qaeda throughout the region. And this, of course, would be disastrous to the regime change agendas of the United States, NATO, Israel, etc., in Syria, which, despite more than 4 years of an internationally orchestrated and supported terrorist war, shows no signs of capitulating. So basically, the Israelis opening up a new front of pressure against Russia, and that's, again, old news, which is Ukraine.
Okay, we'll leave it there at that, but of course we do appreciate your insight. That was Mr. Daniel Esterlin, who was speaking to us live from Barcelona.